Okay, she's going to be here any second, I swear to God. Women, what can you do? Hi, everybody. I'm Bill Whittle here, and this is a delicious cookie, and we are live on the Stratosphere Lounge, coming to you from beautiful downtown Sherman Oaks, and this is, of course, the extra special, long-awaited Ask Natasha episode, which will feature enormous industrial quantities of embarrassment for me, no doubt, and we'll also undoubtedly bring into a new podcast from somebody you'd rather watch. I know how these things work. It's okay. I don't take it personally. Hope everybody's doing well. While I'm waiting, want to see something freaky and weird? I mean, other than normally freaky and weird? Okay, check this out. So, check. Oh, wait a sec. Wait! What the hell's going on here? Try this. It's hard to do with a mirrored image. I know it's really very, very bizarre. Hang on. We're going to show you something. Make your skin crawl. Okay, hold on. Then I want that one. Yeah. Anyway, it's supposed to do a thing. Anyway, yeah. I'm picking my own nose, as people pointed out. It's actually pretty. It's pretty trippy because you never really get to see around the corner exactly, in 3D. So anyway, it is, and it's not a terribly good scan. There might be a higher quality thing. I look a little bumpy, actually, a little bumpier than I would have liked. Anyway, here we are. A bobblehead would be an excellent idea. Anyway, I'm enjoying my cookie. Yeah, and that's that as one other little thing here, because I do my little tap dance. Tick, 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 tick. Where'd it go? Tell me if this doesn't freak you out a little bit. Anyway, that's. Oh, hang on a second. I hope I don't kiss the janitor. I'll be right back. Oh my God! Wow. Well, I feel like I just won the Miss America pageant, and I'm so honored. Hey, look who's here! Oh my goodness gracious! How do we explain this? What is that? Lemon?
It's a lemon cake that you like very much.
Thank you.
I know everything about lemons.
Come on and sit down. So you got all these for me?
Oh, yes, this is the surprise from your Stratosphere launch friends.
You. Thank you. Wow. I'm just going to sit here and first of all, I'd like to thank everyone who made this possible. I can't begin to tell you, but let me put this down before my wife catches fire. My God. Thank you so much. Let me see here. Okay, so by the way, I don't know if anybody knew this. My birthday is on April 7th, but her birthday is on April 6th. So it is actually her birthday before mine. I'm going to just assume this is her cake. We'll blow them out together. How does that sound? Ready? Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Everybody. Ready? Set. 3, 2, 1, go. That was mostly me. I did most of that. And the reason I can tell is because I've had more practice, gabbing. That is fantastic. Thank you, thank you, thank you, whoever out there is responsible for this miscarriage of justice. Have a seat, young lady. Thank you. Happy birthday. Mwah.
Happy birthday.
Thank you, thank you. So here we are, back again. And everybody's saying, yay, Natasha. And so this is the, as I said at the beginning, this is the show where I am going to, from all the loungers, well, how about that? Did they send us like $5,000-$6,000 kind of thing?
Yeah, I saved it for me.
Yeah,
For
and all I got out of that is a crummy cake.
yeah.
God, these people, such cheap bastards. Yeah, she is so out of my league. Anyway, thank you. That's very kind. We really appreciate it. So I think this is the one to look at because I'm always looking all over the place and things are going nuts. So yesterday, last night, Natasha went to UCLA and took her first class in cinematography. Dropped her off at UCLA last night. This morning I woke up. She told me she was leaving me for another woman and was going to go and work on the Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez campaign because of college, liberal college. Get it? It's a little joke there.
Yeah. Don't forget, I don't take some of the jokes. So you have to explain
Because
sometime.
it really wasn't that funny, to be honest with you.
Oh.
Anyway, oh, look at this, honey. Can you read it?
Yeah.
Hang on. Dave Big Booty, our friend Dave Big Booty, has written something in inconceivable chicken scratchings. What is it? What does he say? Can you
He tried to use, I think, the translator. Looks very good and funny, and
What's he say?
people, they are ready to have fun in a Stratosphere lounge.
Wow.
All
That's
I
more Russian.
understand.
That's more Russian than I do. Oh, that's right. I said Dave Big Booty. It's Big Booty. Big Booty. That's a joke that only very few people who've seen really dorky movies in their childhood have seen. Anyway, here we are looking. We're even wearing kind of like our color coordinated kind of our blues and stuff. So we are here very, very, very touched, by the way, by this cake and hang on. Let's just we got to use the frame is what we have to do. Hang on a second. Just kind of at the very least we can just kind of do a kind of a. There we go. Better than nothing. Okay. So Natasha, why don't you just take over the show for half an hour or so? I'm going to just run out and check a couple things, and then I'll be back.
Are you sure?
No, I'm not.
Yeah, I can steal your friends.
Yes, she's already stolen my fans. So we are actually recording and everything. And I thought what we would do is we maybe just talk a little bit to the live comment stream, and then we'll take the Facebook questions.
Facebook question.
Yeah, I put up a post that said that that this is the "You asked for it, you got it," the Ask Natasha Anything episode. Want some water, baby?
Yeah, thank you.
I give the gift of.
Wait.
She'll tell you one of the things that my wife will tell you, because it's not visible on camera. But I think one of the things that she would certainly admit to is that I keep a perfectly ordered workspace, that everything is just in exactly where it should be, that there's no clutter, right? There's no mess.
They have to have a camera behind you.
Yeah,
behind
camera.
your shoulder.
Yeah, wide angle camera. This place is just. It's like this desk is like my mind, don't you think?
Oh no, your mind much better.
Oh, well, that's very sweet.
Sorry.
My, I think I'll keep her. Um, let's see. Oh my God, Eric Blake says I have to man up and watch Rio Bravo. Eric Blake's a young fella, interesting guy. He spent the last 2.5 years or whatever trying to get me to watch this movie. So I don't know if that's going to work.
Or some guy asking what surprised me when I came here
Yes.
first time.
Yes, that's a good one. Let's start with that.
That's the good things is the bad things. The good things is people. People very open, very friendly, very happy. They are not so sad. They smile without any reason. And this country is very different from mine. And I really love it because of the people. Because of the people. And
Any one person in particular?
one especially. Can I keep it
Sure.
in my mind? And that was a other surprise that little bit the roads could be better. I think for all the taxes you pay, they should be from the gold. But that's not my decision. I can't do anything about it. But you are very, very special people. And this country, I love this country.
So do I. Thank you. And you said we can't do anything about it, but Natasha has an idea. No, I'll tell him about it.
Okay.
She has an idea, and it's a damn effective idea. So the garbage on these roads here is so disgraceful that okay, it's like the 9th person or 10th person that said I married up and I'm out of my league here. I mean, I get it. Okay, I get the point. For God's sake, no need to continue to hammer this into. Anyway, so there's all these. One of the things that she was most struck by was just how much trash there is on all the exit ramps. We look like we're doing a split screen here. You talked about that before. You caught that during the yeah. There we go. You mentioned that during
Scott?
Yeah, when Scott was here, exactly. But what she suggested was that she suggested that they get a bunch of models, or even better, like movie stars, celebrities, and dress them up, really glam them up, and then have them picking up the garbage against the fences, and just kind of shame the town into cleaning itself up a little bit. I actually thought that was a brilliant idea.
Yeah, I think that will work, but that will be very bad for your traffic in LA. if they be in a I don't know, swimming suit and high heels, it's very beautiful makeup, but that should be something like a scandal, So probably people will understand that. That's yeah.
Yeah, make them, and just make them see what the city looks like clean. They wouldn't recognize it. And if they had roads that were paved, my God, you imagine? It'd almost be like, LA would be a paradise. It'd be like Cairo or Istanbul.
No, I like these roads. They are very big, and people drive very polite. Most of the people don't think, and that they don't agree. But if you compare with Moscow, these people much more, they follow the strict rules.
Yeah, the rules when we first got here. I mean, it's like the first day or two in LA. I think I probably found I think I married a person from the only place in the world that makes Los Angeles traffic look like nothing, because it's the worst traffic in America.
Not worse. In Moscow, worse.
That's what
much worse.
Yeah, America's. This is the champion, but apparently we come in second. The Russians beat us in the logjam race. But when we were coming up the freeway, and it was just stopped. It's just plain stopped. It's a 405 on an afternoon at 5 o'clock, and you just sit there and you get to look at everything in a lot of detail. You move forward, get a look at the next 3 or 4 feet, and so on. And as we're sitting there in traffic, we were we were up against. I guess we were up against the right lane, and she said, "What is this open lane for? Why aren't there
Yeah.
anybody in there?" And I said, "Well, honey, that's an emergency lane. That's what it's what you use if if there's an ambulance needs to get by or something like that." And she said, "Well,
Police. Yeah.
in Russia, if there's open space, somebody's going to be in that lane. There's going to be filled with people over there trying to, um, you know, get ahead." But yeah, it's been like 2.5 years, getting close to three, honey, since you were on this show last.
That was September, last September.
Yeah,
I don't
September of 16, so 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Thank you for making our dear friend Bill so happy.
Yeah.
How can you tell? So anyway, we got a bunch of questions on Facebook, but we wanted to talk a little bit more to the live crowd here. And again, thank you very much for the cake and the balloons, which are back there. Tell them what we're going to do for our birthday, baby.
Well, that was my dream. I have been fluent. Sorry for my English.
Your English is fantastic.
I saw Grand Canyon from their plane probably 4 times, and every time that was unbelievable. That's so huge. That's so unbelievable, and I just wanted to see it in real life, in real time, and do some photos there. And I know that's so many like opportunities to go. And when Bill asked me what and where we can go, I just said, of course, it's a Grand Canyon, because that's huge, and that's probably should be the hugest thing I ever saw. And Billy, he bought bus tickets for us for 11 hours, so we will travel, we will see everything, and there are the place where we can go under the, I don't know this word,
The walkway, or the
the walkway,
yeah, it's on the
but
west rim.
that's nothing under or no.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think some people have seen it. They built this U-shaped walkway that goes out over the lip of the canyon.
Yes.
And there's only one word to describe that. And that word is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Is it? So like a gorge is like a gorge is like a big. It's like a big hole in the ground. Gorgeous. See, it's a little trick. Anyway, you get the idea. So here's the thing. So we're not actually taking a bus from LA. We're gonna go to Vegas, and then we're gonna stay in the pyramid. And this is the famous pyramid that you heard about back in Sochi.
Yeah, that was for 2004
Mm-hmm.
when I first hear about it. I was croupier in a casino, the first casino, 5 stars, American stars in Sochi. And we have very big and good people from Nevada. They were our friends, they were bosses. The first thing they showed me from America, that was Las Vegas, and that was the prospect where they showed us the Pyramid Hotel. And I was looking at this and I said, God, it's so far from us, it's so beautiful, and I just have no choice to be there.
Yeah, it's like being on the moon.
Yeah, and now we will spend 2 days in this hotel, and Bill specially bought these tickets for us to stay there. For me, it's like a fairy tale, which is going to be true.
That's very sweet. And I mean, I'm going to be staying in a very nice room. could have gotten a bigger room, but it gets a little more expensive. So you know that
I
place.
will stay in the more expensive?
No. I'm
No?
going to stay in the. You know the
Are
place
you-
down the hall where they make the ice. You know where the machines are,
Oh,
the soda machines. Well, I got it.
okay. We will speak about it later
all
at
right.
home. Okay.
I guess somebody's going to be sleeping. But here's the thing. This is really great. And we took the train up to Carmel, and that was great. And we were thinking about maybe taking the train out to Grand Canyon, and it turns out that you can. And I think Amtrak goes from LA to I think it's Williams, Arizona. I'm not sure if that's the place, but it's somewhere out there by Prescott. And then you get off Amtrak, and then they've got a train that it's like a little private rail spur. It's a real train. It's about 100 miles, and it goes up to the edge of the canyon, and they have like singing cowboys, and they do like a fake train robbery and all that stuff, which seemed like a lot of fun, but it would probably make it into a 4 or 5 day trip instead of a 2.5, 3 day trip. So. Anyway, it's great, and the best part of it is, so we're driving up, and then we're going to be there driving up Saturday, spend Saturday night, which is her birthday, and then which mostly is, of course, preparation for the main event.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's
and then on Sunday on my birthday we go out to take a bus from Vegas to we stop at Hoover Dam for about 20 minutes for a picture stop, and then we go out to the canyon. We spend 3 hours on the canyon, and then we come back. But it's like an 11-hour bus ride, 11 hours in and out the door anyway. So a significant amount of time in the bus. And one of the things I learned first about my wife was that any kind of a bus, the bus that takes you from one part of the airport to another part of the airport, that kind of a bus. Natasha loves buses, and that she loves buses for the just the coolest reason ever. I'm going to make you tell that story again.
Me?
Yeah, sure.
That was surprised me when I heard it from my father. Even my mother was surprised when I was something like 4 or 5 years old. My father got me to the children garden.
Kindergarten.
Look, kindergarten, yeah.
Wait, a little too bright.
Yeah, maybe you just do this.
Wait, hang on. Anyway,
Yeah, it's too bright.
you get the idea.
Yeah.
It is too bright.
Yeah, it's okay.
It doesn't matter. Anyway, that's.
So I was like not taking. He put me, my father. He put me at the children garden.
Kindergarten.
Kindergarten. And he go to his work because his work was not so far. That's also was not so far, the bus station. And I never go to this garden, never say hi. I just go to bus station when my father left. And I take this bus and I take the ride till the end. And I meet people, I speak to them, and I look around, and I just remember the few seconds of this because I was 4 or maybe 5.
But you did it more than once, right?
Yes, that was like for 6 months, and my mom didn't know, and my father didn't know this. But I travel by myself, being so small. As I understand, I love people. I like to meet people. And I was just like hanging out. How you
Hanging
say?
out.
Yes. And after one of the people who work for this place, they told to my father, she came just to eat, she came to the lunch, and she never came in the morning. So as I understood, I don't remember this really, but I traveled on this bus probably 6 months, you know.
4 years old, and just
Yeah.
just got on the bus and just rode around because it was interesting, and she's an adventure hound. You know, I know obviously a lot of people interested in the political stuff about it, and you grew up in the, you know, the you were a teenager when the Soviet Union finally went away.
Hmm.
But one of the things that's been I've learned so much about Russia from her. I've learned so much about America from her. And I'm not, generally speaking, a big fan of communism, as most people know, or socialism either, for that matter. But she did point out something that I think is really actually very important, and credit, you know, where credit is due. She would get on that bus and just ride for 6 months. You know, this 4-year-old adorable little blonde girl, and there was just no crime, right? I mean, there was nothing to worry about.
At that time, no. At the time, absolutely.
And her father was a policeman.
That's true. He was a criminalist. He's just
He was a crime scene photographer, right?
yeah,
So it's in your blood.
absolutely.
The camera works in her blood.
Yeah, I have pictures me staying in his laboratory for to making the pictures, and
Dark
it
room?
was like very very big equipment, and I was just standing in whole my height.
Hmm.
I will show you these photos.
We'll run it when we get them.
Yeah.
But she picked up the camera work genetically from her dad, and also the pistol work.
Mm-hmm.
She humiliates me out there. She keeps telling me no, but it's I can put the two targets up there. She's just deadly.
Oh,
Deadly.
I forget to take him with me, but
So tell why don't you talk about the first time that not so much the first time you went shooting, because that was one round in an underground shooting range, private shooting range underground with a 9mm, and that was pretty loud in an enclosed space. But Sarge says your work is beautiful. It is. FOTOMELNIKOVA, Photomelnikova with an F.com. But we came in, and we in LA we did some shooting, and since she was going to come to America and be an American, and so I got her a 22 caliber Beretta pistol because it looked cool. And then within the space of 3 weeks, the sights weren't accurate enough for her. She's just out shooting the gun. What would you say to people who've never shot before? Because you hadn't shot a gun until you came here. And by the way, we're really overdue. We haven't been in a long time. But
Yeah.
when we first started doing this, this woman was putting, I'm telling you, between 600 to 1,000 rounds downrange every single weekend, sometimes 3 times a week, 4 times a week. We just couldn't get enough of it. So what's that like when you pull that trigger and it just goes bang, and it's like a little hole right where you aimed it?
what I find out, as more you're excited, as the more you're excited, the more you're not in a target. So you have to be very calm and focused. And even if you go to the tense, I mean, in the target, in this dot,
Mm-hmm.
you have to be very quiet inside, not so much excited, because if you do, next shot will be out of even paper. So for me, that's
Where my shots go.
I don't know. He's very good. He's very good in this, and he's better than me. Of
It's not
course,
true. It's absolutely not true.
No.
God damn it! How many times do I have to? No, she's genuinely a better shot than me, and I'm an okay shot. I'm a decent shot, and it just, it's like anything else. It just makes me proud. There are some people. Oh, that's a filthy question, Foghorn. You are a bad boy. I'll get to that in a second. but there are. Let me write that down because
There are
I'll
so
black this out of my mind.
there are so many questions. That was hello from Latvia.
Yes,
Oh, Lithuania. I'm sorry.
Lithuania, and he's coming
And
and he's going to be moving to
somebody
America.
asking for Gorn. Yeah, he asking about Cleveland photos.
You saw it.
What? So what?
So apparently, there's this guy named Andrew Clavin. People
Yeah.
tell me I did a show with him. I have no memory of it, but apparently I did a show with a guy, maybe more than one. I don't remember.
I saw them a lot before I came here.
You saw shows with this guy?
No, with you.
Okay.
Okay.
Anyway, I barely remember the guy, but Foghorn asked, what was it like shooting this unknown, no talent?
That's not true.
What do you mean?
Okay.
I carried him for years. No, she shot all of the. When we go over to Daily Wire, it's great because Daily Wire is just amazing. It's phenomenal what they've done. And then you walk into Daily Wire, and they've got 3 photos of the on-air talent, and she took all 3 of them. She came in and took some pictures, and they hired her to come back and take some more, and she took the picture that's going to be on what's his name again?
Who?
The bald guy.
Andrew Clavin?
Yeah, I guess that's it. She took the picture that's going to be on his book cover. So just
It's
walked
a big,
in.
big honor for me.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Bigger honor for him.
Okay. That's nice.
So anyway, that's Foghorn had to ask that because he's just a jackass. But what
Ben
about
Shapiro.
not so much how do you hit the target? Because by the way, one of the things she pointed out was that one of the reasons she's such a deadly shot is because Natasha shoots very thin depth of field, razor thin depth of field, and that means you have to have the slightly longer exposure time, right? And you got to hold that baby really steady.
Yeah, absolutely. You even don't breathe when you push the button. Yes.
Same thing with shooting, right? They say that you shoot
Absolutely.
between the breaths.
Yeah.
Of course, that was that big nasty old heavy camera and that horrible heavy lens you used to have.
No. Now I have the lens. That was the big dream. And Bill presented to me. And I was screaming and crying.
And the camera. So
And the camera,
yeah.
yes.
So
Yeah.
it's
That's
been
true.
we've been it's not like probably a big surprise to everybody to know. It's like we're thank God for Scott, and we'll get to that in a minute about getting this website up and stuff. But it was like pretty tense there for a while, and I didn't look. I was gonna get her this camera for Christmas if I'd had to sell organs, and they're
No.
excellent organs, by the way. But so she had Canon,
Yeah.
and she'd had it for years and years. This gigantic, heavy thing, and it was really causing her neck problems because this thing was just a big, heavy professional camera and a big lens. And then just before Christmas, I got you. I wrapped up a little box with the lens adapter that takes
Yeah.
that takes the Canon lens and puts it in a Sony. I handed her that, and it was like already nighttime, and we're just about to blow out the candles, kind of thing. And I said, "Here you go," and she said, "Oh," and then
No, I was very happy because that was a preview for my camera, but I didn't expect something.
and then 10 seconds later, reach under the bed there. Almost pulled out the pistol. That would have been a big mistake. And she just lost her mind. I've never been so proud of myself. And in fact, she took the wrapping paper that I wrapped these things with, and she put those in picture frames. And now our drawers have 2 frames of wrapping paper from the camera, which I thought was just lovely.
Yeah, because I can't just throw it out because Bill, he wrapped it himself, And that was big surprise for me because in Russia nobody can do it. And when I just find out that I was cry before, but that make me so, I don't know, I just never forget it.
It's part of the freedom built into American culture that allows us to develop this incredible lead over the Russians in gift wrapping technology. By the way, there's an announcement. We don't want to hog this whole thing. There it is. Our friend from Latvia
Yeah.
is engaged.
Oh,
DFRSS.
really?
Yes, he's actually engaged, and congratulations. I hope I didn't cross any of the streams there. I think this is, there he is. Yay! And so he's, if I understand correctly, because sometimes things go past. Most, she'll tell you, most stuff just goes right past. But coming to America, I knew it was Lithuania, and then somebody said Lithuania. I said Latvia. It's Lithuania. So anyway, he's going to be getting married and come to America. Is there anything more horrifying than those two things in a combination? Being married and coming to America. Is there anything worse than that in terms of like?
The one thing, if you love and if you think that's the person, this person is right for you, it's nothing to be afraid of. Just go and do it and enjoy it. Like I did.
I think we're going to end the show right here. I think that's as good as it's. I think it's as good as this show has gotten or ever will get. And she's from Georgia. His fiance is from Georgia, which, as I'm sure you know, is a state in just north of Florida where they have
It's
incredible
not in
barbecue.
Russia,
No,
Georgia,
she's
no.
from Georgia.
I
What kind of
understand.
what
It's
kind
just
of
a
a
joke.
you know, Georgia, just north of Florida. Probably big fan of barbecue, and his fiance is probably an enormous, Georgia Bulldog fan. Even though the Georgia Bulldogs are a bunch of degenerate perverts running around in that wretched hive of scum and villainy at wherever the University of Georgia happens to be. Apparently he says the real Georgia. So he's marrying
Georgia.
somebody from Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
And you lived for 17 years in Sochi?
17 years, yes.
So you were pretty close to Georgia.
Yeah, that's true.
You said you were close enough to Georgia that you could hear the artillery from when there was that fighting in Georgia.
Yeah, that was Abkhazia, which was so close to us. And Abkhazia and Georgia, they were in a war for 10 years. And sometimes they were so close. That was not nice
Not
feelings.
nice. No, I'll bet.
But we always see their big ship, Russian ship, the army ship,
Yeah,
this
like
gray
naval ships. Yeah.
with the big cannon.
Yeah, big destroyers
Yeah,
or Black Sea Fleet.
Our windows was out to the seaside, so you can see this ship. It's like the big symbol of, don't worry, we are going to protect you. So that was that days.
It's
So,
when sometimes it's tough. I mean, it's occasionally it's a little tough, because there's been a lot of tensions lately and so on, and one of the many things. Well, first of all, one of the things that I learned was seeing things from Russia's point of view. It doesn't necessarily mean I agree with it, but it certainly does mean that it becomes more understandable. And we were talking about the stuff in Georgia and Ukraine, and you were saying how Russia had just put so many resources in there and built so much stuff up, and then they just decide, hey, we're going to go be pals with America now. But I remember we were talking about the Navy, and there was a U.S. destroyer in the Black Sea,
mm-hmm.
and it was was in international waters off the coast of Sochi, and remember you were telling me that everybody in Russia had said that Russian planes had scared that American destroyer off, and we were running as fast as we could possibly go. Or
Yeah, Russian people, they believe to this, but and me, I did too. It's like you have nothing of right information in Russia, and after Bill explained me this, and I understood, and of course, American ship couldn't be afraid of Russian plane. It's ridiculous.
well,
Mm,
with that said, we spent most of 60 or 70 years being afraid of Russian airplanes and Russian tanks and Russian everything. But it really is. Dave Big Booty says, Big Booty says that American media is not much better. The news media here, we're getting practically nearly the same kind of thing as as Pravda and TASS and Izvestia and all that stuff. But it's great because one of the things, the very first thing when we first started talking was I told you how much I loved Russia and Russian history and the Russian people and all of that. And so it's kind of cool now because I kind of get, it's like, it's like my new family as well. It's like all the cool things that the Russians did. They're like, that's part of me now. Like I get to own some of that.
I think I already told this, that my American husband teach me about the history, and he teach me to love my country better, or he teach me to not to take it right,
Be proud of it.
to be yes, absolutely. That's the word, to be proud of this. And everything he shared with me changed my mind about American people in a much better way than people who lives in Russia. And we are not, it's not our fault, because that's so many things go from the TV and news. So it's very necessary to be here to understand the truth, or to find your own middle between truth from America and truth from Russia.
And you think, because there's a lot of, especially back in the Soviet days, a lot of anti-American propaganda. There's a lot today too. But one of the things that she just mentioned that was so strange for me was that by having that information restricted, not only did they hear things about America, how bad we were, but there's a lot of stuff about how great Russia was prior to the revolution that they never got to hear. And when we got here, we saw this. It's a really great, terrific documentary series, a 7 or 8 part series called The Romanovs, and really beautifully done. And we watched it twice. And they're just showing you just the Russian GDP and the fleets, and they're making more iron than England, and just all of this stuff is going up, and it's getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And along comes Lenin and kind of pooped the party. But anyway, it's just I don't know. It's great. I see all of these all of these pictures, and one of the many things we talked about was, if you look at because I just look at video of all kinds of things, military history. She'll tell you all about that, and then we'll get to some questions. But whenever you look at either the Russian Navy or Russian Air Force, and you see Russian jets taking off, or you see Russian ships cruising, it's always completely overcast, and it's either snowing or about to snow, and everything's kind of gray, just because it's and these jets hauling off. And then you see the American stuff, and they're flying out of Las Vegas, and they're sailing out of San Diego, and it looks like a brochure for Tahiti or something. It's just so bright, and everything's this and that. And it's just wow, amazing. Great.
That was so many questions that we did not.
Oh, we got the Facebook questions. We're not just going to try and catch up with these. This is an important question. The original IP snowflake. I'm sorry, the original P snowflake. had you gotten your citizenship yet? And the answer is no, but we're working on it. So she came here. We got filed with an immigration attorney right away. And then it took, what was it, was it more than a year? It was when we finally went to the interview, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a little over a year. Then we went down to the courthouse in Van Nuys and had a chance to talk with, what would that be? Immigration office there. And we'd been together for about a year and a half, and we'd been married for 13 months or something. And we're sitting out here, and we go into this room, and tiny little kind of a cubby hole, and there's this guy behind the table, and I sit down, and she sits down, and I was a nervous wreck. And I'm sorry about that. I was out of control, crazy nervous that day. But it occurred to me that that this bureaucrat had complete control over our lives, you know. And he said something, and I remember at the time it took my breath away. And for some reason, I had the sense to not start a giant monologue then. I waited till afterwards because, you know, but this guy said after, you know, we're showing all the pictures and Natasha had kept every 10,000 photographs of us together and all the airline tickets and all the other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we went into this office, and the guy's interviewing us, trying to make sure it's a real marriage. And because there's a lot of American men just marry Russian women, it's a mystery. Why would you go to Russia to find women? But anyway, so we sat in this office, and I knew that the guy was looking for fake marriages for money so that somebody could get a green card, and I knew that, and I knew it was his job, and I knew he'd done this hundreds of thousands, probably thousands of times, and so on that level, I kept telling myself not to worry. But at the same time, this guy had that power, and what he said really, really freaked me out. He said, "Well, I've decided to approve your application for resident alien status."
Bill was so amazed that just one guy could make decision about our destinies to be together. He was just
And
yeah.
and I remember thinking, what is it that bothers me about this so much? And then I realized it was just how arbitrary it was. The guy said, "I've decided to approve this thing." And afterwards, I remember walking out to the car. Like I said, I don't know why I didn't say it to his face. You would have been sent back to Russia, and I would have been sent to Antarctica or something. Then I would have had a lot of swimming to do. But he said, "I decided to approve this." And only after I got out of the room and we're in the car, I remember thinking, why does this bother me so much? Then I realized it bothers me because it's not up to him. It shouldn't be up to him. And it's not supposed to be up to him. You know, he needs to see certain documents, certain evidence, and so on. We presented that evidence, and there should not have been anything like, "I've decided." It's like, yes, you have all of your papers are in order, and here's a record of bills and common addresses, and here's that. You've definitely satisfied the requirements needed by the office, and therefore there you are. But anyway, so she got her resident alien card, otherwise known as a green card, and it's a provisional card for 2 years, and then in next February we go back. And then that's going to be the hard part, because that's going to be the one that's going to be really. We're going to have to prove that we've been married for 2 years, that we know each
dance, other. I don't know.
We're just going to have to spend the 2 weeks before just studying like crazy, just like cramming
about each other.
Yeah. What's your name again? I know you have a daughter, and her name is it's on the tip of my tongue. Her
You
daughter.
will learn it just before, okay? You promise?
I promise I'll study it.
Okay.
So we got to go back and convince him that we're still married and that she's not a drain on the country's treasury. Imagine, and then then the green card. Joking, needless to say about that interview. That interview is a slam dunk. Once that guy said, "I've decided to approve your application," I could breathe again because I'm not kidding. They know it, you know it, I know it. If he'd said sorry, then it's like, well, we'll be doing the Stratosphere Lounge coming to you from Moscow for the foreseeable future. I'm not kidding. I am not kidding. Moved to Russia or Bermuda, or if he hadn't approved it in California, we may even have decided to move to the United States and gone to America if we wanted to. But anyway, that didn't happen. So in another 10 months or so, we go back, we sail through that interview, and then from that point, I think she can become a citizen about a year after that, I want to say. So
2 years more?
about 1 year from February.
I have to stand it. 2 years more?
Honey, we'll talk about this later.
Okay.
And you know, the course, the tough thing for her is, you know, the citizenship test is tough. You got to know all about the government and politics and how it works, and who are we going to get to teach you things like this is the House of Representatives and here's the Senate, and you know.
I don't know where to find this
You'd better
He's
get
just
100% on this test, Joe. So I'm
you
going to
have
make
to find
I'm
out.
going to make you take it again if you don't get a perfect
It's
score.
like the big professor, you know, who knows the history.
And this isn't news to people, but you're going to pass that test, and I bet you. Does anybody know? I wouldn't be surprised if somebody figured it out. Does anybody know or can? Oh, Aesop, you're fired. He said Clavin can teach you.
Oh, really? Okay, I will think about it.
No, you won't.
Maybe I will
I
owe
don't
him
know. Oh no, I
few
don't.
photo
No,
shoots.
I don't think so.
Or...
No, I don't think that's. I don't think so either. What the heck was I saying? This happens all the time. It'll come back to me. What the hell were we just talking about, honey?
Yeah.
You don't remember either. It's
There
just
are-
gibberish. Just blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, just read other
We're talking about the
questions,
citizenship
so
thing. Oh, and one of the things is we were hoping to go and visit Russia, and we're planning on that, and Natasha was a little worried about it, and I was a little worried about it. So I called the immigration attorney, and I said, and this is before she even had the green card. By the way, you'll be relieved to know that once if you decide to become, and this is good news for you coming from Lithuania as well, you'll be relieved to know that many months before your resident alien status card arrives, your IRS tax number appears. That comes almost within a month of filing the paper. The first thing you get is, here is your right to work card, and this is your tax ID number. So you can start paying taxes into the country before you even get the resident alien status thing. Look at the look on her face. She's got that 1,000-yard stare. Of all the things that you've told me about this country that really just made me go, oh my God, you know, you're absolutely right. Is we were talking about socialism and Soviet times, and you would say, well, you know, at least in the Soviet Union, you got free college, you got free health care. And I said, honey, it's not free, it's prepaid, blah, blah, blah. But then she said, okay, but so they would tax us, and they would take maybe 20% if we were high enough on the income scale. This is after the Soviet Union went down. So they would take maybe 20%, but then that included college and healthcare and apartments, and all of this stuff was just basically given to you. And my whole argument about how they took it in advance and, you know, took all your your work and life away from you, it's like, wait a minute. She's right. They took 20% and gave them everything, And these bastards take 50%. We have the worst schools and the worst roads and the worst. It's just enough to make you want to cry. Just make you want to cry.
Anyway, it's the better country. It's the best country. Still better country
And
from all of the world to live. Yeah.
and you get to see very stupid people trying to turn this place into what the Soviet Union used to be, and it's not easy for me to watch the trajectory of my country kind of going down and the trajectory of Russia kind of coming up in terms of standard of living. And I thought I knew that the the Cold War image of Moscow was way old fashioned. But when I met Natasha and she started showing me pictures of Moscow, it's like every single car in the street of Moscow it's like a Bentley, it's a Mercedes, it's a it's spotless, it's gorgeous, it's like all lit up, it's like Disneyland.
That's true. And my president, he loves country. But I'm not sure he loves people. So he loves people, but that he put a lot of money and power that he has for the future. So the young people live better than before, and he pay for new children.
Yeah, they it's in Russia you get paid, was it $10,000, $15,000?
10,000,
They
but
pay
for second child.
for your second child, and every child after the first one, you get $10,000 from the government. So since the birth rate is falling in Russia, instead of importing people from Antarctica, as you say, Asia, South America, whatever. Instead of importing more Russians, they decided to pay to actually build new Russians from actual Russians.
And women, they have a salary, sitting at home and take care of the children till 3. Till 3.
3-year maternity.
Yeah,
pay.
they have a real salary. Yeah, and we have so many children now. We have so many young people, and it's a future in front of them. And they go to sports, they go to college, they go to universities. That's a big difference now.
And here, at least in California, not so many kids, and this was a surprise for me too, but when we go out on the town, we go out to a restaurant or dinner or something, we see old people.
Yeah. This is strange for me. Any advertising on the TV and anything I see, it's people older 50. And in Russia, it's how we say age sense when it's censura, this word.
Ism, like ageism, like
Yeah.
you don't see old people in Russia.
So yeah, if you're 35, if you're 40, you're just out of the life, especially if you're a woman. And here, people much more free, and even if you, I don't know, 50, 55, 70, 90, you're welcome to go and to learn new things, and people will admire. Nobody will laugh at you. Even if you, I don't know, in a wheelchair, you are welcome, and everybody will applaud you because you are somebody who go through your, I don't know, not moral, but when you're afraid of, to do some things,
Yeah.
they just give you support, and that's make me happy here because it's more human here. Yes, more human attitude to people, how to say. Yeah.
I didn't tell her, but I'm actually fooling around with a UCLA student on the side. I got this college girl that Never mind. Never mind.
Yeah. You mean this movie I
Yeah,
mentioned?
I've got this. I'm actually secretly seeing this college student at UCLA who's studying cinematography.
Mm.
What can I say? Yeah, look, this is going to be 60 in 3 days. 60.
It's not.
Um,
It's not possible.
let's do some questions from Facebook that people have stacked up, and we have a definite out at about 7:30 or 7:40, which isn't much time left, because our friend Little Bean is in the veterinarian hospital. He's diabetic, and they're doing the final kind of blood sugar run up to figure out how much insulin he needs twice a day. That cat was that cat was a rescue cat, and he had been in a house full of like 9 or 10 other cats, and so he, when the food goes down, man, he goes right after it, but he's very, he doesn't like. If you try to give him a shot, he fights and tear big chunks out of your skin, and we were having and the more we did it, the more he started to fight it because he could see it coming and he just hated it. But because he's such a greedy little devil, now we figured out we put some of these special treats out on the top of this little desk thing, and he starts chowing down on the special treats. And then when you give him the shot, he's just like, "Hurry up, so I can get back to my special treats."
Yeah.
So anyway, so we got to go pick him up, and that place closes at 8, and we don't want, and I'm not going to leave him there.
What
So
time is it now?
it's about 10 after 7, so we can do another 20 minutes, 30 probably, and still have plenty of room. Anyway,
Susan.
we're going to go look at the Facebook questions here, which I'm going to move over here. See all the amazing juggling and things that I have to do, and no producer, no nothing. I got nothing. All right, so here we go. Stratosphere Lounge Special Edition, the Natasha thing. We're going to go through these as fast as we can because I know a lot of people had questions, and maybe, who knows, maybe we can talk her into coming back sometime. She's starting to get that glazed over look. This is the way it always gets to be at my house when I start talking. It's like, Stalingrad, Washington, Nancy Pelosi. Next thing is like,
No, yeah, because I have to read it and translate some.
I just this is going to come as a shock, but and apparently Scott Ott just got there and just said hi. I was just explaining, Scott, that she had I'd been talking for a little bit and her eyes had glazed over, and I suppose this is as good a time as any to let you guys know that every now and then I go on a little longer maybe than I should. It's like every couple of months or something. Maybe I'll just say a little more than I really needed to.
I guess.
Yeah. Look, you can see the lights going out. Just kind of now she's going to start doing this kind of. Next thing she's going to do is she's going to do that thing where you yawn, but don't show that you're yawning. So watch, she'll do something like this very soon. She'll go.
Just because I'm
And then
too emotional.
then her eyes glaze over. Okay, so let's see what we got here. Steve Darrow says, Natalia, is that your nickname? Actually, that's your real name.
It's Natalia. It's our official name in passport. Yeah.
So Natasha's the nickname. I asked this question a few years ago, and you had Bill answer for you. That's nice to know. What else is new? I know you were quite young, but what do you remember about the Soviet era?
Oh God, that's worth a big book, and that's sad. I remember the long lines in stores. We go and it's nothing there, nothing, and people just stay in line to find out. Maybe when they go inside the shop, that would be something to buy, but no. That was like one kind of milk, one kind of butter, one kind of like candies that nobody wants, of course.
And we would watch Russian movies from that period, and you would just
Yeah.
always squeal like, "That's my couch, that's my toaster, that's my TV set." Everything was the same, and you go to other people's apartments, and they have the exact same thing.
Yeah, we were clones, you know, it's just like a stamps from, and you're not allowed to have anything better than others. Um, no choices, no dreams, and even the way you think should be uh, managed, you know.
So I was a Cub Scout with my little blue uniform, my little yellow scarfy thing, and you were a pioneer.
Pioneer.
So you had the red scarf,
Mm-hmm.
and then you, like everybody else, you had to become part of Komsomol. Would you mind just telling them real quick what you told me about when they would have these? We're talking about Soviet times, right? And they would come in and they'd have all these pictures, and they'd have parades, and you had to volunteer your time and all that, and somebody would get up and talk about the wonders of socialism and how America's nothing but this racist hellhole. And you said it wasn't so much scary as it was just stupid, that just people just laughed at it.
At my age, yes, people they start to understand that our life is not perfect. We don't have anything to enjoy this life, you know. No food, no good food, no good clothes, and we knew about America and we knew about different lives there. And uh, in school, you have to go to parade, which is like 9th of October. Not 9th.
Yeah, 11th. The on
I-
the date of the October Revolution, which actually
God,
happened in November.
17th.
Yeah, right. Mhm.
Really, my subconscious is just don't want to remember. But before you go to this parade, you have to sign that you should be there. And they give you flags and they give you their pictures of the people who is in our government.
All
And
the Politburo people.
yeah, and you have to go like 5 hours in this parade in a big crowd and say hooray, hooray every second. And you have to pretend that you're very happy, but nobody was happy. Everybody knew. That's my age. That was I finished school at 1983. Yeah, at that time people they just didn't believe to this. But if we take my parents, they were, and the people will no, the people were how to say believed. Yeah,
They believed, yeah.
yeah, they believed.
And
So we just hate it. We just hate these parades, and we have to do it. We have to do it because we are in a school, and in order to have a good marks, we have to do it.
and we would have had the exact same thing if Donald Trump had lost the election. We wouldn't be here now. We'd be out on the streets tomorrow morning with our pictures of Comrade Hillary, and we'd all be marching and talking about how much we love Hillary Clinton, and if we didn't, we would be whipped. And there are like I say, it's just great that she's just taught me so much about things and opened up my mind about a lot of things. And we were talking before about how, okay, so you may not actually be free healthcare and free housing and free university, but they take half of what they take from us, and they actually provide it, and they provide high quality stuff, the education system. And Natasha, because of her father, grew up in Academic City, just outside
Yeah.
of Novosibirsk,
Yes.
which is one of these communities of scientists, right? And all of those people really believed in it, and they were just doing this brilliant work out there, just brilliant Russian scientists and physicists and all this stuff, working with no money. And I just remember you telling me about how no matter what you think about the politics, you in the Soviet Union, you could be a farm kid from wherever, and if you had talent, they'd send you to university and educate you all the way up, and didn't matter how much money you had and stuff. And then there was the no crime and all of that stuff. So it was. I wouldn't take the deal, but to say that there was nothing, good about it is I just realized was just wrong. You were telling me about those camps you used to go to, those like the summer events and sporting, like the sporting centers and stuff.
Yes. In school, we had summer camps, and children, they go there and spend like almost a month. We have everything: sport, equipment, entertainment. We sing songs around the fire. No, fire, not fireplace, but
campfire.
camp. Yeah, that was really great. And that's not just us, people who go to universities and they have their salaries because they learned there. And they go also to the camps, but that was a different subject. They just help to agriculture, But anyway, that was very romantic time. And that's when you are very young, when you believe in future, when you would like to have a very, very good life. And you are just on a, just at the door to go there. But government, they give us opportunity to be ballerinas,
Ballerinas?
yeah. Ballerinas, artists, or anybody. So we call it like circle. So you can choose what you would like to be. And government paid for this. So we have everything to grow and to give this country, I mean Russia, to give this country back everything what we learned from. That was not a bad time. That was very, very good.
The and one of the things is it's so hard to get used to here. It's hard for me too because I'm not very good at it. But there's just so many things that we have to do here. We have to worry about insurance payments. We have to worry about the regulations. In the back room back there, we have to have certain number of signs that are sent by the California State Department of Fascism Control or whatever. And if they're not up, we get fined. And it's just extremely complex. And one last thing, and then we'll do maybe one or two more questions. Then we'll run, go get our little cat. But, we talked about this a lot, and how it's like it's virtually impossible for us to really understand each other because your country has been invaded so many times and burned to the ground that Russia always is kind of paranoid about, worried about somebody invading them because they've had it happen. Napoleon and Hitler and so on. And we, on the other hand, never ever have that happen. So we're a little bit, we can't understand why somebody would be so paranoid about that. But do you want to just tell us just real quick about your grandfather? Because I thought that was very, just, sad.
Yes, nobody from my age, nobody had a grandfathers because all of them, they die on a war, second war. My grandfather survived because he lived in Vladivostok.
Your father's father.
Grandfather. My mother's father.
Okay.
And my father's father, he was the first who was thrown to, how to say?
Stop the invasion.
Yes.
And
he
no
was
weapons,
25.
Nothing,
He was 25. And he lost his life in the first days of war. And my grandmother, she had they have 2 children already. So she go to this war too. And she was in a special command to kill their Germans.
And she did. She was
She
like a
did.
sniper, right?
Snipe, yeah.
So her.
She was a legend, and her, he, the how to say, the command, yeah, the team,
The company or whatever.
they become a legend. So we learned it in school, but I didn't know that my grandmother was there.
Yeah, and you had your husband killed in like day 2 of the invasion, and then there's really nothing to live for, so you just go out there and decide I'm just going to get killed fighting these people, and you end up, But it's this is the kind of thing where it's like this is the difference between Russian history and American history. I mean, I can talk about my grandfather or my father going over to war or stuff, but it's not the same as having, my grandfather was killed when the Nazis invaded our farm, and burned everything. It's just a whole different thing. The Night Witches.
Yeah. Remember, I also asked you, did your guys after college they go to army?
Yeah, we were watching. She showed me a film called The Courier.
God.
Russian film called The Courier, which was about kind of this kid rebelling against authority, and it was made in the last years of the Soviet Union. And then I said, well, that's okay. So now we've seen your teenager rebelling. So we saw ours. I showed her Ferris Bueller's Day Off, which she'd already seen. But he was talking about, okay, so he's just had this incredible day, and then he's going to college, and somebody's going to some other college, and you said, well, what about Army? And it's like, no, they don't have to go. It's all volunteer. And you said, my God, just so much freedom,
That's so much freedom, yes. And you shouldn't go to army when you're 18, which is very dangerous place for young guys.
In the Russian army.
In the Russian
and
army,
Soviet army,
yeah. Because it's like bad camps, okay? That was the children camps, the camps where they try to force you to be a man. But in Russia, people who came back from army, they came real men, They went through the very hard time. And here just didn't happen. And also we had a not bad, but difficult climate.
Yeah, there's that.
So many wars, and the guys, they have to go to the army, and that make Russian people so strong. And we had some strange knowledges about America, but after I met Bill, I know that's not just Bill, of course. I mean,
I'm her second favorite American.
I would like to say that the American people very honest, very clean. They believe in good things, and I think that's the great way to live and to teach your children.
And we went to right after you got here. You got here in September 12th, 2016, and within like a week, we went down to watch the first of the Hillary Trump debates. And everybody there's like every conservative in California was there, so 20 of us or something. And we're watching this debate, and then, Trump starts firing off some things, and everybody's cheering like at a football game or something. And you said, why is everybody cheering? I said, honey, it's important, I mean, this is like the future of the country. And you said something like,
Depends on you.
You really get to decide? Yeah, it's not like all a joke. It's like, no, it really happens. And I know I've said this before on the show, but it's like, as it got closer and closer, I didn't think he was going to win. I really did not think he was going to win. And a couple weeks or even a couple days before the election, she said, so is Hillary going to win this? I think, honey, I'm pretty sure she is. And it was like, okay, so it's basically not much different than Russia, it's all decided in advance, and it's all about money and power and connections. And then we were over at Daily Wire. I was on the election coverage night, and it just slowly, all these needles started to move towards Trump, and then by the time the night was over, we walked out of there, and it was I was as astonished as she was. It's like, so it turns out there's a little freedom left in the old girl, you know.
Do you remember we went to the concert where the guy who was singing, he said like, we can't influence on American talent.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we try to go to Russian entertainers, and there's this one guy's a Russian comedian. He's a singer, comedian, and stuff. And I think I talked about that. I think I did one of those little things you held up the iPhone, and I mentioned I just spent 2 hours in there listening to people laugh at somebody in a language I didn't understand. I was talking about the timing and all the rest of it, but this Russian guy was telling a group of American Russians living in America. He said, so now we Russians are being accused of influencing the American election, which is pretty amazing, really, because we don't even get to influence our own elections.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's absolutely true. And if any journalists outside on the streets ask who will gonna win, people just like laugh, you know. That's.
I'm going to answer one more Facebook question, and then we're going to have to get you back here. I'm just going to make you come. I demand it. I forbid it. It doesn't actually work the way it used to. But Jake Sortica says, hello, Natasha. Does Bill ramble on for hours? Of course he doesn't. Everything I say is succinct, precisely worded nugget of information. Not an extra word comes out of me. Does Bill go on and on for hours in conversations with you too, or is that just a special treat for these miscreants? Do you find it annoying, endearing, or somewhere in between? Go with endearing. Endearing.
No, it's
Endearing.
he's the same in real life, and we just have many hours to speak, and every time I have subject to speak.
That's
yeah.
great. No, that's great. I learned so much from her. I have so much fun. And we went to Vegas when you came to visit,
Yeah.
and I told you it'd be a 4.5 hour, 5 hour drive. 4 hours the way I used to drive.
Yeah.
And it was 10 hours. The freeway just shut down. And we were in that car for 10 hours, and it just went like that.
Yeah. Because he just speak, and I have so many questions, and even being in Russia, I had this question not all my life, but maybe from the school, and nobody can answer. And guess who answered for them mostly? Of course, it's him.
You know, it's like
So-
it's if you had to, you know, I mean, there are two different nations are about to land on the moon, and I'm belong to one, and I'm married into the other one, and then she's going to be able to do this, it's going to be her moon landing too. We saw Apollo 11 not too long ago, by the way. It was fantastic, and we got to go pick up our cat. I always end these shows, and I'm going to get you back, like very, very soon, like maybe tomorrow. But I always end these shows by thanking the members, at billwhittle.com, for not only for this show but for the studio, and for our just adorable little house, and our
Absolutely.
raccoons and possums and cats and flowers and all the rest of this stuff. So I don't know if you wanted to say anything to them, but we're enormously grateful always, and we never ever get over it.
It's absolutely, it's so important.
But these people pay for
We
our
appreciate
incredible
it.
life, yeah.
Yeah, it couldn't be better, and thank you very much. And that's something which is so important for us, and especially for Bill, because he is a genius.
No, he's not.
He's genius, and he deserves very, very don't want to see good life, but
He's already got that.
he deserves everything he has, and he's he's appreciated. So thank you. Thank you.
And you know better
everybody.
than anybody that
Yeah.
I would be a bad employee working for somebody else.
Yeah, that's true. So work for yourself.
Yeah.
That's
work for them.
that's the best version of you.
All right.
Okay.
So we would do this for another hour at least, but we really do have to get our little guy. So thank you very much for the birthday cake, the balloons, the flowers, and everything, and the fact that you guys would chip in money for that is just absolutely fantastic. And I'd like to thank our special guest, who is the love of my life and who made my every single second of my existence just unrecognizable.
Thank you.
All right, well, we're going to go. You're going to stay there. We are out of here. And we'll have her back just as soon as we can. Thank you very much, all of you, for your birthday wishes for both of us. And by the way, one of the things that Natasha's been talking about because the new website has got all of these, posts and things from members and at the newbillwhittle.com there's something like 8 or 10 member posts a day, and Natasha has determined that she's going to have her own little blog there, and she's going to post pictures of me with the cats and then pictures of me like falling asleep on the couch, like with a what? Sorry.
I will do something.
I
like that.
I have
So,
this
yeah.
some kind of thing, but I make a sound like a snoring sound that's like it's like a bomb went off.
That's true. Even cats just
Leap.
run out. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, thank you, everybody. Thanks very much for joining us. It's been great. It's been way overdue, and for those of you that used to know me in person, or those of you who've been watching me for years, used to be Bill's an angry kind of guy. It's like not so much anymore. Wonder why.
I don't know.
Let's go pick up Bean, why don't we, and take him home and get him some special treats. All right.
I will have to.
I will probably upload this from home, but thanks very much for joining us. And there's something in Cyrillic that I can't make any sense out of from our Lithuanian friends.
Compromat.
What is it?
Okay, there is. I will explain
Okay,
later.
great, got it.
Okay.
All right, so we're out of here. Thanks again for the cake and for all the birthday wishes, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you very much.